Hi folks, this is all the fruit, and here I have the Tibetan cherry, Prunus serrula. The cherry season here in the flat parts of Heidelberg is pretty much over by now. In the hills over there, I don't know if you can see them, they are still Prunus avium, Prunus cerasus and other cherries which are fruiting right now, but down here it's already summer and the cherry season is more or less over. And over the last 2 months I did film a lot of rare cherries here in the area of the university hospitals, and there was one which was always green when I filmed the other cherries. I thought, well, I have so many cherry videos, okay, I don't need to make any more, but then I thought this cherry has such nice bark. Let's make a video about this cherry for the sake of the bark. And I am really happy I did it, because the bark is the least striking thing about this cherry. Well, actually no, the bark is pretty beautiful. The bark is the reason this Tibetan cherry is also being called Mahogany Cherry, because of this beautiful red mahogany shine on the bark. It's also called birch bark cherry, probably because it reminded someone of the paper bark birch. I wonder if the bark burns just as well as birch bark, and if it can be used as tinder or not. The Latin name of this cherry is Prunus serrula, not to be confused with the much more common Prunus cerulata. Look at this beautiful bark. It shines like mahogany or even like a copper pipe. Beautiful. So the bark was the main reason I came back weeks later to make a video about this cherry. And then I realized that actually the most amazing thing about this cherry is the taste. Well, quite small cherries. It's funny, like the peduncle seems to sit on a really short leafless branch. In this case, this branch is not even leafless, it has some leaves. This branch serves as some sort of extension of the peduncle. Look at that. Let's see how it is with the other ones. Well, yeah, pretty funny. Don't know if some other cherries do this, but it's quite amazing. The leaves of this cherry, they almost look like peach leaves, peach or nectarine leaves. They're a little bit wider than the average peach leaf, but no, not really. Look a lot more like peach leaves than cherry leaves. And now to the most striking feature of those cherries, their fruit. I don't know if they are completely ripe. Oh, look, here is another one with leaves. I already picked a cherry, but yeah, those cherries, they come off easily. Even the ones which are not red but pink, I don't know if they will turn blackish like a lot more cherries, but I assume they're ripe enough. The taste is definitely crazy enough. How shall I describe it? Well, funny thing, the seed is really huge. There is not so much flesh, and the seed also has a pattern. It's rough, like chiseled with a chisel or with a knife or something. The taste. There is a bitter component. There is also a sour component, and both hit you in the mouth the moment you try this cherry. Maybe a little bit of sweetness, but it gets drowned out by all the bitterness and sourness. But the bitterness and sourness are not the most striking part. I have to continue eating cherries because it's so hard to describe. It all hits you in the mouth in 1 millisecond. some aromatic flavor. It's a bit like anise, not exactly like anise, but reminds me of it. Very bitter, no, very sour, pretty bitter at the same time, not as bitter as some other cherries, but still quite bitter. And then this flavor. There's also some spiciness, like similar to ginger in it, but not exactly like ginger. And how shall I describe this? One flavor component, yeah. It's a little bit like anise, so pretty sour, pretty bitter, this anise flavor, and some slight hotness like ginger like hotness, but this could also come from the from the sourness and bitterness. Look, there is one where this little teeny tiny branch on which the cherry sits is even slightly branched. Really strange cherry. Well, I mean, all the looks of the cherry, they're strange enough to make a separate video about it, but the taste is really unique. I mean, I'm not a big fan of anise, but I think if you could crossbreed this cherry with some of our cherry varieties, you could get some really crazy taste sensations. By itself, it's interesting enough to try it, but I wouldn't eat it regularly. We have much better cherries. But if you could mix this sour taste and this hint of anise or something like anise with some of our nice big cherry varieties, that would be a very interesting cherry taste. That would have taste components which are not really known in our Prunus avium cherry varieties. Okay, folks, this was the mahogany cherry or Tibetan cherry or birch bark cherry, Prunus serrula, not Prunus serrulata, but Prunus serrula. Stay tuned for more fruit videos from the parks, gardens, and university campuses of Germany. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.